perception are distorted. He becomes confused, and he displays irresponsibility and...
He almost got away with his crimes. LeviBellfield was adept when it came to avoiding police suspicion. He never left any physical or DNA evidence at the scene of his crimes, and he used a different car nearly every time. He didn't have just one pattern in his crimes, and did not always abduct or rape his victims. This was enough to make police unsure of whether the women he had killed were connected. In 2004, police linked Bellfield to a van that was seen driving around a bus stop near where one of the girls had been killed. This was enough to get police curious. While under police surveillance, he was seen talking to young girls at bus stops, and the police at last arrested him on November 22, 2004, after trying to hide from police in his home. Even after he was taken in, Bellfield refused to confess, simply offering no comment when questioned by police. He targeted young blonde women. Bellfield's ex-wife Jo Collins once found a magazine in the trash where Bellfield had scratched out the faces of blonde women, and when questioned about it, he replied that he really hated blonde women. All of his known victims were blonde, with fair skin and light eyes. All of them were also young, with none of them being over the age of 22. Surveillance footage showed that Levy would drive past bus stops and train stations, likely looking for women that fit his type to harass or harm. Later, during his murder trial, Levy would actually wink at a blonde woman who was sitting on the jury. He is a narcissistic misogynist. Ex-girlfriends and wives reported overlapping stories of abuse and manipulation from Bellfield. The women described how Bellfield would come on as charming and funny at the beginning of their relationship before his true personality came out. He would force them to hand over their cell phones, which he would replace with a new phone with only his number in it. Then, he would prevent them from seeing friends or family without his permission. If they upset him, he would beat and often rape them. This ego warped into a desire to harm and kill. According to former Chief Inspector Colin Sutton, Bellfield was so self-obsessed that he used any rejection as a justification for attacking women. He has a massive ego to feed. He thinks he's God's gift to everyone. He drives around in his car, feels a bit whatever, and sees some young blonde girl. Young blonde girl says go away, and he thinks you dare to turn down LeviBellfield. His ex-wife claimed she was repeatedly raped. In his life, Bellfield had several marriages and fathered 11 children from 5 different women. All of his partners speak of a similar pattern of escalating abuse. He would seem protective and kind at first, but over time he would become abusive. He would hit them if they ever upset him, and he would confine them in his home. Ex-wife Jo Collins came forward to say that she believed her ex-husband has been raping and killing for far longer than anyone expects. She confirmed that he raped her hundreds of times, beat her, and would sometimes lock her in a bedroom. She was afraid for her life on a daily basis. As she put it, the rapes became quite a common thing, because we were his property. We belonged to him, and whatever he wanted, he did. You didn't say no to him, you didn't argue. He would run over women with his car if they rejected him. In May of 2004, 18-year-old Kate Sheedy was crossing a road near an industrial estate in Isleworth when Bellfield attacked her. He had likely been stalking her for some time, since she noticed the car and felt uneasy. As she crossed the street to put some distance between her and the vehicle, he ran her over, stopped, and backed the car over her a second time. She suffered a punctured lung, spine damage, and several ruptured organs, but she still managed to call emergency personnel. She testified at his trial to help send him to prison. There are likely more victims. Although Bellfield has been convicted of 3 murders, it has come to light that there are likely many others. His ex-wife Jo Collins suggested that there are more murders have not been uncovered yet, and there were at least 24 other assault and rape cases that may be tied to him. Collins said that there is not a doubt in her mind that there are more victims to her ex-husband's murderous ways. She recalls times he would leave town suddenly and behave strangely, as if he had just done something wrong. As of 2016, police suspected he may have ties to more than 20 other attacks on women dating all the way back to the 80s. Bellfield has remained fairly quiet on the matter of additional victims. He assaulted and killed a 13-year-old girl. Bellfield is known to have killed at least 3 young women, including Marcia McDonnell and Amelie DeLagrange. He did this either by sneaking up behind them on the street with a hammer and beating them to death, or by kidnapping them, perhaps after running them down with his vehicle. The slight variations in his crimes are one of the reasons it took so long for police to track him down. One particular victim that got additional attention was Millie Dowler. The 13-year-old Dowler disappeared on her way home from school in March of 2002. 6 months later, her body was found 25 miles away from where she was last seen. While Bellfield was convicted of killing McDonnell and DeLagrange in 2008, it took another 3 years before he confessed to Dowler's murder. Bellfield told police that he abducted Dowler and raped her multiple times over a 14-hour stretch before strangling her and dumping her body in the woods. Dowler's family went public with the details of the child's death because they felt the full scope of Bellfield's crimes would not be accurately portrayed by the media. He stalked and abducted women at bus stops. LeviBellfield earned the title of bus stop killer because he would often stalk his victims before the attacks, and he would single out the targets while they were at bus or train stops in Western London. Although he did not always use a weapon in his attacks, Bellfield was known to carry a large hammer and beat several victims with it until they were unconscious or, more often, dead. While 3 murders and 1 assault have been pinned to Bellfield in court, there are numerous other crimes that police believe fit his patterns.
Hey guys, thank you so much for the support and likes and comments down below, and also thank you so much for watching, and I look forward to see you in the next video. Then take care, bye.